Welcome back. We have joining us right here on Politics HQ without wasting time, Mahdi Shehu, who is a non-commercial whistleblower and also a human rights activist. He joins us virtually. Mahdi Shehu, good evening to you. Thank you very much for your time tonight.
Good evening, Ozoma. How are you? Good evening.
Very well, thank you. We hear that the Defense Headquarters, through the Director of the Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, has said that Nigeria is in a state of war. He was recounting the suicide bombings that led to the death of many people, several people. Last time I checked, the casualty figure was put at 32 lives lost, with almost about 100 injured to various degrees. As far as you're concerned, what do you make of this statement? Nigeria is in a state of war. We are in a state of war. Are we in a state of war, sir?
I am surprised that he is knowing it for the first time now. We have been at war for the last many years. Because what are the manifestations for war? Under war.
Okay, seems we have a challenge with Mahdi Shehu's connection. I do not know if he can hear us. But of course, this is coming from the Defense Headquarters over the incident in Borno State, where, in the words of the Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, we are in the state of war. Now, he was talking about, like I said, the incident, the suicide bombings that led to the loss of lives in Gwoza Local Government Area of Borno State last weekend. He said, quote, "Given that we are in a state of war, it must be recognized that this despicable act is a response to recent successes in ongoing military operations. Indeed," he said, recent operations have decapitated the leadership of the terrorists, depleted their resources, reduced their support base, and reduced their influence. End of quote. Now, the first bombing was recorded at about 3 p.m. When a female suicide bomber, disguised as a beggar, she went there asking for alms, went to a wedding reception asking for alms, and she was with a child and detonated that improvised explosive device at that wedding reception. Now, the second, that was 3 p.m. The second bombing happened at about 5 p.m. Again, by a female suicide bomber, not far from the scene of the first explosion. Now, this happened while efforts were on to stabilize the casualties and move them to the hospital. That's from the first explosion. The second one happened, also taking more lives. Now, the third explosion was targeting Nigerian troops, Nigerian soldiers, who were trying to enforce the curfew declared by the authorities. The troops were attacked from behind by a third suicide bomber, another lady. She had an improvised explosive device strapped to her body, that's on a vest strapped to her. And that blast took the life of a soldier and 2 members of what Edward Buba calls the hybrid forces. That was not all. The fourth explosion, or the fourth incident rather, was averted when the suspect was identified in advance, and she detonated the bomb prematurely, whereby she became the only casualty. That's what happens. So 4 explosions on the same day. This is quite sad. Yeah. At the time of writing of preparing for this program, we checked, and the casualty figure was 32. Yesterday, Vice President Kashim Shettima, himself former governor of Borno State, visited the injured at the hospital there in Maiduguri and did announce that the casualty figure was at 32. Questions to be asked include, what is responsible for the return of suicide bombing in Borno State? We've not had it on this scale in at least 5 years. Seeing suicide bombings like this, back to back, 4. Of course, the Defense Headquarters had said that the terrorists embarked on these, what are called cowardly acts against innocent citizens because they wanted to project an image of strength to cover their weakness and decline. So, obviously saying that the Nigerian government, Nigerian army, military, air force, they are winning the war, and this is just an attempt to divert attention from the losses that the terrorists have encountered. Well, we'll leave it at that. We lost connection with our guest, but we hope to have him on the program on another day. But that's the size of our package right here on Politics HQ for tonight. Hope you've had an interesting time with us. Many thanks for your company. My name is Kofi Bartels. We'll return tomorrow. Good night.